As someone in their early 20s that tries to be super conscious with their money and has hit some pretty big financial goals in her life, I spend a lot of time focusing on where I can save money and where I can cut back to be able to save and invest and hit my financial goals. But I truly believe that money is a tool to help us live our best lives, and learning to spend intentionally and spend in a way that really makes our life full can help us feel super fulfilled in our 20s. Erin. I'm a personal finance creator over on TikTok and Instagram. For the last 2 years, I've been building up an audience of over 300,000 people, helping women in their 20s be better with their money. Since it is almost 2024, I have been doing a lot of financial planning, getting my own budget ready for the new year. In this video, I'll be breaking down these 6 areas where I am intentionally trying to spend more money in 2024. Like I said, I think it is just important to focus on where you do want to spend as it is to focus on where you want to save and where you want to cut back. So let's get into it. The first area that I am intentionally trying to spend more money on in 2024 is gifts. Over the last year, going from strictly working a corporate job to working a corporate job while also doing social media on the side to now being totally self-employed, my income situation has definitely changed a lot. I've really been able to increase my income over the last 2 years. And with that, I am so fortunate to be in a situation where I can afford to spend more money on the people that I love. And I'm so fortunate that I have so many amazing people in my life that I love and care about. And I do want to be able to give them gifts without feeling guilty about it because of my budget. For example, last week it was my oldest niece's 17th birthday, and I went into Ulta and I spent close to $100 on buying her a birthday present. And I want to be able to do that between my immediate family, my parents, my siblings. I have 5 nieces. I have an amazing boyfriend. I have so many amazing friends. Obviously, the holidays are coming up as well. And in 2023, one of the best things that I did with my money is created a 2023 holiday sinking fund in my high yield savings account. So essentially every single month I set aside $200 into this separate sinking fund. Now that it's the holidays, I have about $2,000 sitting in that sinking fund to be able to spend on holiday gifts. I haven't started Christmas shopping yet, but just knowing that I'm going to be able to pull from that money and not feel like I'm totally blowing my budget on Christmas presents is a really great feeling to have. So in 2024, I really want to expand on that. Maybe adding like a gift sinking fund into my high yield savings account and setting aside money every single month to be able to pay for birthday presents, wedding presents. In your 20s, you go to so many weddings and you obviously need to bring gifts to the wedding. So having that money set aside every month will really help. The second area that I want to intentionally spend more money on in 2024 is donation. This is admittedly something that I do not do enough of. Like I said, over the last 2 years, my income situation has drastically changed. I think right when you graduate from college, you're trying to just make ends meet and you're not really thinking of ways that you can give back. But over the last 2 years, growing my income, becoming self-employed, having an entire platform around teaching people to be better with their money, I've just really been looking for something that I've been passionate about enough to donate money to. A couple months ago, I decided to fund a college financial literacy scholarship. I'll put a link to the scholarship application in the description of this video. Any current college student is eligible to apply for the scholarship, which is really great. All you have to do to apply is answer an essay around the best money lesson that you learned while you were trying to become financially literate. I only funded one scholarship for 2023, but in 2024, it is my goal to 10x that. Obviously, that will be split between the spring semester and the fall semester of 2024, but it's my goal to, between those 2 semesters, fund 10 $1,000 college financial literacy scholarships. The third area that I want to spend more money on in 2024 is my health. For young people, this kind of gets overlooked, and I am so fortunate that I'm in a situation where I have really quality health insurance. Transparently, and I talk about this all the time on my TikTok, I am back on my parents' health insurance. Earlier this year, when I decided to become totally self-employed, I obviously lost my employer-sponsored health insurance. And since I don't turn 26 for about another year and a half, I was able to get back onto my parents' health insurance. So with that, it doesn't seem like health is something that I'll necessarily need to splurge on, but I feel like it's less about the money in this case and more about the time. I'm admittedly so bad at remembering to even schedule like preventative health appointments. So really prioritizing that along with just spending the money I need to really optimize my health in 2024. The fourth area that I want to spend more money on in 2024 is coaching/education. Like I said, I am self-employed. I went totally self-employed earlier this year, and going full-time honestly has been such a game changer for my business. Obviously now I have the time to dedicate to it. Things have really been growing with that, which is great, but I still feel like I don't necessarily have a defined like long-term goal for where I want my business to go. All of 2023, I've really been thinking about the fact that I want to hire a business coach, and in 2024, I really want to invest the money to do so. I've been talking to some of my friends in the space who have also hired business coaches and content strategists. So I've been mapping out how much something like that would cost me and really putting a plan together to implement that into my business strategy in 2024. I think the two biggest things that I want to get out of this are, one, just a sense of direction. Now I just sort of feel like I'm putting all of this content out there, and right now it's working for me, but there is this sense of like, okay, what's the longevity of this? How long can I realistically keep this up? What is my career going to look like in 3 to 5 years? The other aspect of it is just someone to hold me accountable. I think right now I do a pretty good job of holding myself accountable to show up every day. I do feel like I work really hard. Having someone else there, if I do lose that sense of motivation, will be really good for me. Fifth area that I want to spend more money on in 2024 is, I labeled this intentional travel. And the reason why I called it intentional travel and not just regular travel, I honestly did do a pretty good amount of travel in 2023. And with that, some of the trips that I took, I do feel like I got a decent amount of value in. However, I feel like over the last couple of years, I've done a lot of booking trips for the sake of booking trips. And my friends would feel kind of bored and feel like we need to go somewhere. We book a weekend trip in a big city, and then we kind of show up there without really a plan of what we're going to do on the trip. And then you end up going on these trips with the same people that you spend all of your time with at home, doing virtually the exact same things, going out to eat, going to the bar. You kind of leave the trip feeling not that fulfilled. Next year, I want to do a better job of thinking through my trips and planning them in a way where I know exactly what I want to get out of the trip. For example, last week I was at a conference in my industry. I went there and met up with 50 plus people that I've known over social media for a couple of years. It was a conference, so obviously we were learning so much in the workshops and the session. There were so many amazing networking opportunities. And even though when I left the trip, I was so tired and I was so ready to come home, I got so much out of going on that trip. And that's what I mean by intentional travel. And not all of it has to be work-related trips, or you don't always have to learn something when you go, but just planning trips more so around like an event you want to go to. Or if you do want to just go explore a new city, really doing your research on what type of events or activities are in that area. Don't just show up to a place and all you have to do is like go out to eat and like go drink. The sixth area that I want to spend more money on in 2024 is actually community. This video was supposed to be a 5 things that I want to spend more money on in 2024, but I added community at the end of this because I think this is so important for people in their 20s. Again, I could talk about this conference that I was just at last week for so long, but when I think of community, I think of intentionally putting yourself into situations where you're going to be surrounded by like-minded people. For me, last week, I went to this conference. I ended up spending a lot of money to be there. And yes, they were business expenses, but like I'm self-employed, so I'm the business. Even though I spent so much money to be there, I do not regret even $1 of it because I got so much out of being there. And yes, I learned so much from the sessions and the workshops, but a lot of what I got out of it was just being around people who are very like-minded, ambitious, spent a lot of time talking through our goals. So investing in a community, whether that be your time or your money in your 20s, I think is super important. This can be really challenging if you feel like you don't have a defined like group to be involved in. But just finding ways to kind of like expand your circle. Social media is a really great way to do this. Through events, groups, whether it be Facebook groups, in real life groups, conferences, maybe it's finding a new hobby that you can be involved in. Anything to invest in your community will help you feel so much more fulfilled in your 20s. So those are the 6 areas that I want to spend more money on in 2024. Again, I think we focus so much on where we can save and cut back in our budget, but focusing on how to spend intentionally and what purchases will actually fill your cup in your 20s is so, so important. Make sure to like and subscribe and let me know in the comments what areas you will be spending more money on in 2024.